This next breakthrough is a lot deeper, all the way down to the very tissue of our brain.
You almost have to laugh that something like a simple Sudoku puzzle is one of the things it can't figure out. Even humans can do that.
If you don't have control over either, you can still communicate. You can use a phone to send text messages. You can use an email, stories or letters to loved ones.
Is mind reading one of the top 3 superpowers you wish you had? Well, artificial intelligence is starting to tackle that. Artificial intelligence reads minds by interpreting brain signals. Early attempts at reading minds in this way used invasive methods to measure electric impulses in the brain, and some were successful in coming up with single words or even short sentences. So, is AI mind reading a threat? Recent instances have leveraged deep learning algorithms and large language models to interpret non-invasive brain scans with significantly more robust results. AI mind reading starts with a functional magnetic resonance imaging scan, fMRI, of a person's brain. Data from the scan is fed to a specially trained AI program that interprets it using a large language model in a process that's essentially the same as providing a text prompt to ChatGPT. The AI analyzes the data and then determines what the person thinks about it based on its large database of other scan results. Some experiments with mind-reading AI have turned people's thoughts or even dreams into images using stable diffusion and similar technologies. Other experiments have turned a person's thoughts into text, reflecting their thoughts. Scientists at Facebook AI Research Labs have developed an AI model that can decode speech from non-invasive recordings of brain activity. Despite the noisy data from this technique, the AI model still shows very promising results. The lab aims to help people who have had traumatic brain injuries and are unable to communicate effectively. They trained the AI algorithm to analyze the brain activity of 169 healthy people, listening to audiobooks in English and Dutch. Let's peek a bit behind the curtain and analyze what the AI model is about. Participants in the test listen to hours of audiobooks, and their brain activity is captured using MEG, magnetoencephalography, or EEG, electroencephalography, wave formats. MEG and EEG are types of non-invasive methods that we previously mentioned. These waves are transformed into numbers because that's how computers understand concepts. These numbers are simultaneously matched to the actual words in the audiobooks. Brain waves are compared to speech waves, and the similarities are identified. The results from the AI model show that it can decode speech with up to 73% top 10 accuracy. This means that out of 10 possible sentences, the AI model predicts the result with 73% accuracy. According to Meta, the model was tested on a vocabulary of 793 words, which is mostly what we use in everyday conversation. This is an exciting step because AI can successfully learn to decode noisy and variable non-invasive recordings from brain activity. This work is part of an effort by the scientific community to use AI to understand the human brain better. How is AI trained to read minds? Artificial intelligence is trained to read minds using deep learning algorithms and large language models. Instead of providing vast amounts of text, which is how a model like ChatGPT is trained, the AI is provided with brain scans and corresponding data to show what the person was thinking about at the time of the scan. One of the early successes in mind-reading AI used a custom-trained version of GPT-1, an earlier version of the technology that powers ChatGPT. In that instance, volunteers lay in MRI machines for hours while listening to podcasts to create data for the training process. The researchers then trained GPT-1 using the brain scans and corresponding podcast audio. Newer GPT models have built upon this approach. Once an AI has been trained on brain scans and corresponding data, it can use that training to interpret other brain scans. Smart computers are improving at understanding what we think can be a problem. People like advertisers, politicians, or bad actors might use this to control what we choose, like, and do. Outside forces could control our private thoughts, making it hard for us to make our own choices. This challenges our freedom to decide for ourselves. Even though new tech is exciting, human feelings and thoughts are too complicated for computers to understand completely. As we explore this new area of machines reading our minds, keeping what makes us human is important. Technology should help us, not replace the special things about us. Mind-reading AI for people with paralysis and other conditions. One of the most important uses for mind-reading AI is to assist people with paralysis and other conditions. While there has been some success with using technology like Bluetooth to bypass injured spinal columns and to control robotic limbs, they have relied on invasive procedures that tap directly into nerves to read their signals. Non-invasive mind-reading AI could control prostheses and other devices via brain scans instead of surgically installed electrodes. This could allow someone with a missing arm or leg to control a prosthesis, or a paralyzed person to communicate their thoughts through text or speech synthesis. Smart machines that read our minds are getting better quickly, but we need to make more rules to control how they're used. We need strong rules to make sure people are safe from possible bad things. We also need to figure out who get to decide what happens with the information taken from our minds and how it's used in a good way. Mind-reading technology is all about understanding our private thoughts, what we feel and think deeply. But as computers learn more about our minds, it makes us worry about our privacy. What happens when our most personal thoughts, are no longer just ours? One big problem with mind-reading tech is getting permission. How can people say yes to something when the tech can understand their thoughts without them saying anything? The mix-up between what we know in our minds and what machines know makes us wonder if people are really making their own choices, or if they're being pushed into it. Future challenges. The researchers say the development of their mind-reading AI now is thanks to the easier availability of gathering MRI datasets and also the recent advances in computational power to crunch through the data. However, it will take many years of advances for Mindivis to read the public's mind. According to the team, we are trying to test the possibility right now, but I will say in terms of the dataset that is available right now, the computational power we have, as well as the huge heterogeneity or inter-individual differences in our brain, anatomy as well as brain function. This is going to be very, very difficult, said Juan Helen Zhou, an associate professor at the National University of Singapore. There is also the risk that the datasets learned from the AI could be shared without consent. Researchers also acknowledge that the relative lack of legislation in AI research could hinder progress. AI mind reading has gone beyond what we thought machines could do, but it brings up big problems. People are still figuring out what this means for us. We must find a middle ground between new ideas and protecting our rights. To do this, we must look closely at the ethics laws and how they affect society. We must be careful with this power to read our thoughts, making sure it's used correctly, respecting our privacy and freedom. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments section below. If you liked today's video, then leave a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. See you again soon in another video.